Hey everybody, welcome back to Tangle Tower. We're beneath Tangle Tower now, apparently underneath the lake. And there's some hidden rooms down here. We figured out that Pointer, the astronomy guy, he was trying to breed golden beetles. And we found another book about cryptids that apparently this island, the mansion had a different name originally. Said it was Mystid Mansion, and it seems like there are some weird cryptids that are found only on this island, and someone's researching it. It's probably the guy breeding the golden beetles. I mean, it would make the most sense, you know. So, we found this secret area, and apparently there's a secret room, the study. But before we investigate that, there's a couple more things in this room.
We're too late. This photograph has been stabbed.
Why? By what?
Not sure. Some kind of metal stabbing thingy.
Yep, that's a metal stabbing thingy. This rope looks familiar. Sleek but sturdy metal rod has been stabbed into a photograph. The rod has a curved and pointed tip, like an arrow with the hand of a clock. Hand of a clock. Small loop with a short link of red rope connected to it. The metal is perfectly clean and polished. See how there was a lens that has a screw on the bottom? It's Hawkshaw's lens.
So what's the photo?
And there's the reel that screws onto it that has the same color of rope that's attached. And the photo that it was stabbing, it's been framed but is slightly damp. The photograph shows a young girl. A large man is sitting next to her. Around them are several red and white birds. A metal object was stabbed into the photo, leaving a hole near the man's chest.
Do you know who it is in the photo?
Things are coming together.
This man in the photo, he reminds me of something from one of our clues.
Is it the painted models?
Felix made a little model of him? For Flora?
Yeah, it makes sense when you know who he is.
Lord Remington.
Lord Remington.
Remington. That makes him Flora's father. Meaning the girl in the photo is...
Yeah, it's her. See the bird, too.
I never would have guessed. Times sure do change.
I don't know. I don't think she looks so different.
Basements don't normally have windows?
We're at the bottom of the lake. We must be.
Right. But if that's the lake bed, why does it look like that?
Like what?
White, smooth, no plants, no anything. That's not what a lake looks like.
Where are we?
Did you notice how much light this room has? For a room with one candle?
It's all coming through the window.
I'm pretty sure lakes are supposed to be darker at the bottom, not lighter.
Why is there a room down here anyway? And why is it so much older than the rest of Tangle Tower?
We still don't really know why people came to live here in the first place.
Maybe they just wanted to get rich, like Pointer with his beetles.
I feel like the Remingtons came here for the lake, for what was in it.
It's empty, though. More empty than a normal lake would be.
It is now, yeah. Maybe we're too late.
They dredged it.
Let's head back up to the Grand Hall. I want to find that last room.
The secret study.
Wow, it's dark all of a sudden.
How long were we down there?
This must be it. This thing goes all the way up.
How are we supposed to get up there?
Hang on, it's pitch black, but I think there's a switch. A ladder.
Want to go up?
Hell yeah. The hidden heart of Tangle Tower.
An incinerator built into the wall. It's still pretty hot.
Is there anything left inside?
It's mostly ashes. But yeah, there's something.
Among the ashes are several black buttons. Red-colored scraps of fabric are still visible. There's also the pretty obvious feather. Nobody's wearing a hat in that picture. Nobody's wearing a hat, except for a bird. I thought I could investigate, but I don't see anything. Like a hat with a feather in it. He's wearing a hat there.
Dragon?
Snake?
Worm?
That's the one.
That's the one.
Coffee table, half-empty wine bottle, lamp left on. I'm gonna say someone's been using this room.
Someone complacent enough to leave their notebook lying around.
Several pages have been ripped out, but a few remain. Fifth ambassador located, finally. Can't say I harbored any optimism, but still somehow disappointed. No better than the rest of them. Took my Mystid friend into the music room for experiments. It works. Perhaps too well. The laboratory was another disappointment. All that effort, for what? He's even more short-sighted than I could have guessed. Went to the bottom. Nice view. It's been mostly cleaned out, but I have what I need. She got in. She was careful. Nothing was moved, but I know. It's time. Seems like Flora was spying. The murdered girl was spying on someone.
Is that a crab?
It's got a translucent exoskeleton. You can actually see its insides.
Also, crabs normally have 2 claws, right? Not 3? Ugh. You sure we should be touching it?
Grimoire, don't you think it looks familiar? This crab really reminds me of something.
That little wooden toy we found?
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to help us. I think I've seen it more recently.
That's what I was gonna look at, was this. Okay, I think I need to position the claws like that.
Is that a crab?
It's got
also, crabs...
Both the claws were open. They're kind of like this.
Perfect. What's this?
Something somebody didn't want us to find.
Yeah, so they put an obvious puzzle on it. Oh-ho-ho! It's the scope to the crossbow. Yeah.
What is it?
Who are all the people in this photo?
Not sure, but it looks like someone didn't like them very much. Their eyes have all been crossed out.
The ambassadors of Mystid Mansion. They seem familiar. Photograph in sturdy wooden frame. It's dusty and looks several years old. A brass plaque at the base of the frame reads, "The Ambassadors of Mystid Mansion." The photo shows 2 women and 3 men wearing a variety of different styles of clothing. That's pretty obviously Poppy. That looks like the bird lady. All 5 people have their faces crudely covered with black ink.
That photo is important. I'm sure of it.
It's a wooden pinboard, hung up on one of the chains.
Looks like there's a couple of things missing from it.
A large central sheet of paper has been pinned to it. 4 lines have been drawn from a gap in the center. A smaller sheet underneath features a drawing resembling a silhouette of a cloaked figure. That looks like Hawkshaw.
Someone's been using this room. I don't get it. This room is in the original building plans for the mansion, but nowadays it's some big secret?
It's not a secret to everybody. At least one other person still knows about this room.
The way the notebook was left out on the table makes me think it's someone who has the room all to themselves.
Whoever it was, they left more than just the notebook. There's a whole design project on this pinboard. Feels like someone put quite a bit of effort into it.
It's a shame there are things missing from it. I'm betting it'd make more sense if we could see it all together.
That might not be impossible, you know.
So we need to add things to the... Well, that looks kind of familiar. Seems like it'd be easy to put something there. Aha, this has the corner ripped off. And it does say it's a drawing of Hawkshaw. That definitely has to fit. Okay. Now this is the trippy one. Because if you think about the silhouette, kind of like how this looks like the bird lady with her big bird arms and the red hair, that this with the red cloak and the black hair looks like Hawkshaw. See?
The painting from Freya's room and those sketches. Did Freya design Detective Hawkshaw's clothes? What kind of sense does that make?
I don't think that's why Freya made that painting, but it may have been why somebody took a photo of it to use as reference. And as for those sketches of Hawkshaw, I don't think Freya actually drew them. It was somebody else, someone with less of a talent for art.
Doesn't exactly narrow it down. Should we go ask Detective Hawkshaw about all this?
I'm not sure. I still don't know what's really going on.
Another photograph.
Their faces are all crossed out with some kind of black ink.
That's weird.
Oh, you think so?
No, I mean, something I just realized. Sally, did we meet any of these people here at Tangle Tower?
Well, the woman on the left looks a little like Poppy, but her style is way different. And at first I thought the guy on the top right was Felix, but now that I look at it, I don't think it is him.
Maybe it was the guy in the photograph that was shot. What's his name? You know the guy. We just talked about him in the beginning of the episode.
Was someone trying to hide it? From us?
I don't know, but it looks incomplete to me. I want to know what happened to the rest of it. Where are the other parts?
We found them already.
So this part is the scope. This part is the real thingy. And this part is the metal rod.
What do you make of it?
Not sure. Let's keep an open mind.
You don't think the crossbow is the murder weapon?
Oh no, the crossbow is definitely the murder weapon. But that doesn't mean we've solved the mystery.
Have we?
Time to solve this.
All right, break out the notebook. Time to put it all together.
Let's start with this. It's an arrow for the crossbow, and it matches Freya's wound. It's the murder weapon. I'm sure of it.
Despite the fact it doesn't have any blood on it, and it wasn't found anywhere near the crime scene.
Mm-hmm. It was cleaned, then it was hidden. I don't think anybody expected us to get down to that room at the bottom of the lake.
Okay, so Freya was shot by a crossbow. Where was it fired from?
It was fired from above.
It was fired from above Freya.
Above, huh?
Yeah, our diagram doesn't show everything. Let's add in the rest of the crime scene.
The attic.
The light
Perfect hiding
shining in
place.
from above,
We even found a
from
part of the
below,
murder
I mean.
weapon up there. The reel was used to pull the arrow back up through the crack in the floorboards.
Explains why we never found a weapon at the crime scene, I guess.
The murderer must have dropped the reel in the attic. I'm guessing they were in a hurry to escape.
Wait. The arrow was fired through the crack in the floorboards?
Yeah, it's directly above where Freya was found lying on her back.
Nope. Doesn't add up. It would have missed
the
her
wound.
if she was still standing up by the painting.
Ah, right.
Unless...
Freya was already lying on her back.
Freya was already lying on her back before the arrow was fired.
I think so too. She'd fallen unconscious.
Something in the room caused Freya to fall unconscious.
Could be how the gramophone was damaged. Was used to knock her out.
The gramophone.
Right.
But the gramophone by itself can't do that.
Something in the gramophone?
There was something in the gramophone.
Mm-hmm. Something small.
Like a bug. Fends off predators with a loud hiss. He owned one of the beetles, but it went missing.
Pointer's research says it can emit an incredibly loud hiss when it feels threatened. Poppy and Fitz both said they heard a loud noise around the time of the murder.
And that it wasn't
Neither of them
human.
had any idea what it was.
This seems a little far-fetched.
It wasn't a bird.
Is it really loud enough to knock someone out?
No, I don't think so, not by itself. But don't forget, it was being amplified by the shape of the gramophone. I don't think we're purely talking about volume either. It might just be a particular type of frequency.
This is getting kinda scientific. Since when do you know anything about the effects of weaponized audio frequency?
I don't, but I think someone else does.
Someone with
Do you
Havana
remember that
syndrome.
statue we found in the music room? The hornet's playing. It's a pretty similar shape to the one on the gramophone. That broken glass isn't there on accident. This is someone's science experiment.
Thinking about it, Pointer said he saw Flora was knocked out too. I guess they were both in range of the noise, although Pointer might have been lying.
Personally, I think he was telling the truth about that. It's pretty clear a powerful frequency did pass through Flora's tower.
probably didn't wanna
Caused quite a bit
witness.
of damage, too.
Well, a bunch of stuff. The paints, the gramophone, the tape. I mean, the statue, but it wasn't the same frequency.
Those cracks didn't appear out of nowhere. Freya's paints, the pink cassette tape, and the gramophone itself, they all sustained similar damage while they were in that room.
That's some seriously powerful vibration, enough to crack metal, enough to knock someone out all the way across a room.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't get. If the frequency was so powerful and had such a big range, how did the murderer pull it off? Wouldn't they have been in range too? Think about it. They can't have been much further away from the gramophone than Flora was.
That's simple.
They protected themselves.
How?
Noise canceling headphones. Earmuffs belong to Fitz. And Poppy found the earmuffs.
These are some pretty heavy-duty earmuffs. I think they'd be enough to block out the sound.
Right. Let's go over everything from the start. 1. Freya is painting Flora's portrait. They're listening to music on the gramophone.
2. The murderer is hiding in the attic, wearing earmuffs.
3. The golden beetle starts to emit its hissing noise.
Hold on. How did it know?
The beetle?
Yeah, what triggered it at that particular moment? Pointer's research said it makes the noise when it feels threatened.
I'm not sure. Maybe something in the music?
Maybe.
4. Freya and Flora are both knocked unconscious by the vibrations. Freya lands on her back. She drops the brush and palette by her side.
5. The murderer fires the crossbow directly downwards.
6. The arrow is pulled back up on the reel.
7. The murderer leaves the attic, presumably.
8. The door is kicked down. Fitz and Poppy enter the room.
That's it. There's something bothering me.
What?
I just want to check something. Let's go back to the crime scene.
The answer is in the painting. I'm sure of it.
The plant. It's in the book.
What?
Look.
Only eats the seeds of the tantum amica.
Freya, did you leave us a clue?
So what's bothering you?
Something that's not here. The thing we didn't find. We know she was holding it during the painting.
Flora's ink dip feather?
It was here. In this room. Where'd it go?
We found it somewhere else.
The feather that they didn't mention in the burnt items.
We were a little too late to save it.
So it was stolen from the crime scene. And ended up in the incinerator down in the study.
Someone wanted to destroy it, I guess.
But how? How was it stolen from up here in Flora's tower?
Presumably, Flora dropped it when she fell unconscious.
Yeah, and then what? The murderer couldn't have stolen it if they were up in the attic.
So the question is, how could they steal something from a room they weren't able to access? The final clue about the crime scene. Freya left it for us right here. It's in the unfinished painting. It's not quite a photo, but still, it's an image of the crime scene recorded just before the murder. If only she'd finished it, and then I could be totally sure.
It's true she never finished it, but she did intend to finish it.
Meaning?
We know more about the painting than what Freya actually got down on the canvas.
This.
That's not it.
Okay.
Freya prepared all the colors she was going to need before she started painting.
And what is the color that wasn't really used? Except maybe there. Yellow. Was going to be used to paint another potted plant. But it was yellow?
The yellow paint was going to be used to paint the sketch of something sitting in the window.
Maybe it's not a plant.
Something in the window. Oh.
Something yellow. It's back.
There she is. Our little thief.
How long has it been there? Did it hear the whole conversation?
Is it the murderer?
She did, but she's a very good listener. Well now, I think this has quite served its purpose, don't you?
Penny, why did you...
It's Penelope, if you don't mind. But before we begin, isn't there a certain formality demanding our attention?
Use some rope.
Lovely. Now, tell me, what was it that drove you this far? I'm ever so curious.
I just need to know the truth.
Is that right? Interesting.
Why did you do it, Penny? What did Freya do to you?
Absolutely nothing.
So, what? You just hated her indiscriminately?
Freya Fellow was an inspiration to us all. She was possessed of a great energy. The volition to create something from nothing. The willpower to walk beyond her boundaries. She was truly free. Everything I couldn't be.
You know what? I just realized I actually have no idea who Penelope Pointer really is.
Weird, isn't it? Considering we've met her, 3 times now?
Exactly. How do we know this one isn't a disguise too?
You think you've already hollowed us out, don't you? Only a few short hours at Tangle Tower, and you feel like you've got everyone sussed. Unearthed every single one of our secrets. Nothing but bullet points for your notebook. Go on, indulge me. What does it say in your notes about Penelope Pointer? I suppose I can't argue with that, can I?
Penny, we only know what you choose to tell us, so why not help us out?
Very well. Penelope Pointer is actually not very important at all. She pales in comparison to those who came before her and to those that came after. Living at Tangle Tower, it is very difficult to attain the levels of self-realization you probably take for granted.
You sure this is a Tangle Tower thing, and not a you thing?
Perhaps you didn't notice. Not one of them is happy, not one.
So why stay? Why not just leave?
I thought she did leave. Penny, you said you traveled, didn't you?
I did. Many times I've walked away. It did not help me. You saw the family tree hanging in the grand hall, did you not?
Yeah, it lists a bunch of people who don't live here anymore.
A bunch of people who don't live here anymore. I couldn't have put it better myself. My mother, for one. My father, too. The other two Remingtons. Poppy's mother, Primrose. And her brother, Richard.
And Fitz's father.
That's 5. 5 people that might have lived here, but don't.
And that was the first question I wanted answered.
You wanted to know where they'd all gone?
More than that, I wanted to know if I belonged with them. I have no place here. Not among the Fellows, the Remingtons, or the Pointers. But I felt there must be a reason why everyone else left. Some common purpose they all shared. Perhaps it could be my purpose, too.
So, what did you actually do about it?
Nothing I could do, at first. Nobody would tell me anything. The more questions I asked, the fewer answers I got. Then, I found it. I was 19. Same age Freya is now.
Found what?
The study. The one hidden in the middle of the house. It's right next to a bedroom.
I'd hear voices at night. Deep ones. And the strangest thing, the wall behind my bed would get incredibly hot. For hours on end, the paint would peel, wallpaper wouldn't stay up. I thought I was cursed. I thought it was something trying to break through. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I found my way in the same way you did. Once you know it's there, it's simple.
So, you got into the study and found the incinerator. That must have been a relief, right?
It was still warm when I found it. Then, I looked inside. Let's see how thorough you've been. Tell me, do you know what a Mystid is?
Mystid?
What?
As I expected. After all, their connection to the Freya case is minimal, at least at the surface.
Sorry, what are we talking about?
It's a collective term, from before my time. Birds, insects, amphibians, anything living off the lake water. The mutation can take several generations, or it can happen overnight.
Wait, Mystids, like cryptids, like Bigfoot or whatever.
A little egregious, isn't it? I suspect that was an intentional parallel. The main difference being Mystids are perfectly real. They're just kept secret. Or at least, that was the original plan. As it happened, some got out. Quite a few got out.
How do you know all this?
When I entered the study at 19, I found a single object that rather changed my life. Something which answered my questions while at once creating all new ones.
What did we find in the study? This?
The 5 missing family members standing together as a single unit, calling themselves the ambassadors of Mystid Mansion.
So, the house was renamed from Mystid Mansion to Tangle Tower?
And rightly so. The age of Mystid Mansion is long past. When I looked inside the incinerator on my first visit to the study, I found nothing but ash. The afterimage of a bygone era, denied to me in its entirety. The study, the room at the bottom of the lake itself, all empty shells. I felt my only hope lay with the ambassadors. If I could find them, maybe they'd share the family history that Flora and the others were trying so hard to forget.
How did you track them down?
It was tough. They'd taken almost everything. Books, maps, charts, the creatures themselves, all lost, taken away or destroyed. But I got lucky. I got a lead. I found one, and he led me to the rest.
And? What happened? Why'd you paint out all their faces?
They didn't help you either, did they?
19-year-old me had imagined they'd all left with a mission, a unified purpose, but they hadn't. They were, in fact, every bit as fractured as the people that still live here. Most of them had left tracking escaped Mystids. Some claimed to be researchers, others little more than hunters. All 5 completely useless to me.
Even your own parents?
Eventually, I returned to Tangle Tower. I had nowhere else to go. I considered giving up. But instead, I made a decision. There was only one person at Tangle Tower still of interest to me. My dear Uncle Pointer had suddenly made a show of taking up astronomy. A fairly superficial charade. I don't think many people were fooled by it. But I knew it wasn't just a falsehood. It was a mask. Pointer had found something from the era of Mystid Mansion.
So where did he get the beetle?
I cannot be sure, but I theorize that he received it in the post.
In the post? From who?
Who can say? Someone outside Tangle Tower. But the thought that he would be in contact with such a person, all that time, I decided to take what was owed to me.
So you stole it.
Stealing the beetle turned out to be only the first step. Upon realizing it was gone, Pointer made little effort to disguise his frustration. I asked what was bothering him. He foresaw no risk in sharing a little of the truth with his niece. He told me he'd lost a rare treasure, something he'd been keeping safe. I suggested, innocently, that perhaps it was not lost. Perhaps it had been stolen. He was very ready to believe he'd been the victim of theft. When I offered to call in a private detective, he jumped on the idea. She arrived the next day. Hawkshaw prides herself on her punctuality, as you know.
Why, though? Why go through all that? The name, the costume, and everything?
It's somewhat sad to admit, but
It's
I had
for a more
little use
complicated
left for
plot.
Penny Pointer as she was. Hawkshaw afforded me new advantages, opportunities.
But didn't you have to pretend to be working for Professor Pointer?
Well, that was one of the advantages. Pointer was in such a desperate state, he was finally willing to share some of his secrets. On the second day, Hawkshaw explained she needed to be able to search the secret laboratory. Pointer gave in and gave me the code for the harp statue. Reluctantly, but still.
So, you stole Pointer's research?
I would have done, if I'd found anything worth stealing. But he had made remarkably little progress, barely scratching the surface of the beetle's true mystery.
Which is?
Ha! It carries an exoskeleton approximately 90% identical to gold. But it's not the 90% I'm interested in. Did you ever question what exactly makes the water here so unique? Before Mystid Mansion was built over the lake, before the lake was even a lake, Lord Remington and his wife built a small structure here, a research station, supposedly. Fast forward 2 or 3 generations, and as you saw for yourself, it's been mostly cleared out.
The ambassadors took everything when they left.
And everything they didn't take was burned in the incinerator. However, possessing additional insight, I found something the others had missed. It's not much, but I have what I need.
So why isn't this the end of the story? Why did you stay? Why did you kill Freya?
Simply put, Freya was too good for me. It's my fault. I pushed her over the edge, unknowingly, but still, I take the blame.
What are you talking about?
Did you know I based the design for Hawkshaw on something Freya painted?
Yeah, we kind of figured that out. This one.
That's right. I had assumed it was purely abstract. I just thought it had a good energy. I later discovered it was a figure of some kind, something from Freya's recurring nightmare. For all her vitality, I think Freya was probably the most troubled of all of us. She was desperate to leave Tangle Tower, but she couldn't just walk away. For quite some time, she'd been trying to break into Pointer's laboratory. Freya and her friends were halfway through deciphering those symbols on the harp statue, I believe.
Why did she care about getting into Pointer's lab?
That's exactly what I wondered. At first, I thought perhaps she just wanted to free the beetles. She has a fondness for them. What Pointer was doing upset her significantly.
Everyone loves the
But in
Beatles.
fact, I think it was something else. I think she wanted to free Fiona. The real reason Freya was unable to leave Tangle Tower is that she could not get Fiona to agree to come with her. We're now firmly in the realm of speculation, but I think Freya felt that exposing the darker secrets of Tangle Tower, not just to the rest of the family, but to the world, would compromise all three families, and perhaps, somehow, free Fiona from the shackles of her inheritance. That was her plan anyway, but something happened before Freya could find her way into Pointer's laboratory.
She found her way into your study, found your notes, found that photograph. I'm willing to bet she put it all together quicker than we did.
So she worked out what had happened to the 5 ambassadors. Specifically, what you'd done to them when they refused to help you.
Freya had made a promise to paint Flora as a birthday gift, a parting gift no less. She'd be in a locked room, several hours away from her friends. It was my best chance.
But why hide in the attic? And why bother with the beetle at all?
The beetle in the gramophone wasn't for Freya. It was for Flora. She didn't deserve to be involved. She suffered enough. I couldn't get Flora out of her room, but if she could be unconscious, then she wouldn't have to witness anything.
Why the knife? The illusion of the painted knife with the blood.
That was for Fiona. And Poppy too, I suppose. Gave them something to focus on.
You mean it distracted them while you made your escape?
It helped them cope. The very idea of something abstract, something supernatural. I believe it made things marginally less painful for them, initially. Worked on you, too.
So why are you still here? Why not take your first chance and leave?
Well, I've been waiting for an opportunity to get my beetle back. I'd really rather not leave without it.
She wants her beetle back,
Wait,
beetle back, beetle back.
it's still here?
It's still inside the gramophone.
Dun dun dun. The bird wants it too. It's gonna go off! The bird must have set it off in the first place. Where's the boat? This isn't good.
What's going on?
Poppy, they are both awake.
I can see.
You two all right?
My head hurts. What happened to us?
You were both unconscious. 14 minutes by my count.
Really?
You're both fine. No injuries.
Was it the beetle? In the gramophone? I heard it through the ceiling in my room.
The exact same sound we heard before the murder.
I guess it must have been.
So how did we get down here? What
She
happened to
escaped on
Penny?
the boat.
Fit saved both of you, obviously.
When I reached Flora's tower, you were both unconscious, and Penny was crouched down beside you. She had her crossbow on her, but who knows? She may have just been checking you were both asleep.
Did you know that she was the murderer?
Poppy and Fifi suspected her. Apparently, they were pretty close to solving it themselves.
Fitz did not want to believe us, because he liked Penny. A lot.
But what happened? Fitz, what did she do when she saw you?
She jumped out the window.
What? Did she survive?
She did.
I heard something land in the garden outside my room, but by the time I got out there to check, she was already gone.
Hang on. Poppy, why do you have Penny's hat bird?
She left him behind. I found him sitting on the floor in the aviary, all by himself. Poor little thing. The mean lady didn't care about you at all, did she? No, she didn't.
I apologize. Poppy seems to be under the illusion that the bird can understand human language.
I thought it was a hat.
So, Penny got away.
I'm afraid she did.
We had suspected she might try to escape. I was stationed here by the lake's edge. I proved to be an ineffective guard. She took the boat.
Did she take the beetle with her?
Nope,
How do you know?
because it's right here.
We'll just have the
It was still in
tiniest
the
person
gramophone.
guard
I
the
guess
boat.
I scared her off before she had a chance to take it.
Poppy, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to give it back to your father?
No, I'm not. It doesn't belong to anyone. So, I'm going to put it on the ground and never bother it again. I think that's what she would have wanted.
Well, that's the game. Hope everybody enjoyed. It's pretty interesting. It was a little, got way more interesting at the end than it was at the beginning, but it was still, I mean, if you like these kind of games, I was into it. All the questioning and stuff, putting things together, formulating theories. So yeah, there is another one of these games I might play in the future. The first one, I don't think it was nearly as complicated as this one. It's probably like half as long, too. But yeah, I had fun with this. If you like mysteries and stuff, I would also recommend the show Poker Face. It's Ryan Johnson, the guy who did Knives Out, did it. I liked it, the show, a lot better than the Knives Out sequel that he did. And the beetle flies away, free as a beetle. And there is one more thing I was gonna show you, like it's pointing here. I'm sure there's a lot of spoilers and stuff. Wow. So yeah, they already had a design for Grimoire from the first game. Sally appeared with the previous game with her hair down her back and a long plait. Found the shape for Flora early on. Oh, I'm going through each character, but there's different art style for each. There's different sketches for each one. So this is kind of cool. Let's see trying to get the color palette different between each character. Designed for a much older version of the game before it became Tangle Tower. Early story idea was to include a little girl on the team. Obviously, we changed our minds. But yeah, it doesn't look like she changed much. But I mean, she doesn't talk, so she is one of the more 2D, two-dimensional characters. She moves less than anyone, but one big animation is definitely the heaviest in the whole game. Thankfully, I'm a sucker for flapping hair and fabric, so I relish the excuse to go all out and make it really character-defining. Please go talk to her as much as possible so you can see it again and again. her design looks like it changed quite a bit. Got squished. That's what, quite a bit closer. Hawkshaws to provide contrast with Grimoire. Grimoire is friendly and open and emotionally reactive, while Hawkshaw is blunt, stern, and emotionally closed off. Oh, Freya changed a lot. So did Fitz. He used to wear a halter top. I kind of liked the gentle giant design of Fitz. Also, that thing on his head. Hair, a book, or a birdhouse roof? It's a mystery. Those are really good drawings. A lot of the designs reminded me a little bit of Broken Age in this game. If you had emotional breakdowns, this is probably what it would look like. Phoenix Wright style. Poppy changed quite a bit. So yeah, there's a lot of notes and different designs. Even every single clue has a different, has some notes and sketches. So yeah, I think we've explored enough of this. If you like it, you can always buy the game and explore it more. So thanks for joining me, and hope you all have a great rest of your week. We got more stuff, pretty much the same schedule. Full pipe tomorrow, probably the finale of Tunic on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday we have more God Hand. So hope you check that out and have a good time. Enjoy. See ya.